Hello and welcome back to Voyage of a Time Wanderer. Today is Saturday, June 12th, and I'm hoping to go to the farmer's market to pick up some rhubarb. And since the farmer's market is right next to our used bookstore and our thrift store, I thought maybe I'd turn it into a little secondhand book shopping, farmer's market, library day out. So why not bring you along with me? So as you saw, I got a bit distracted on the way into the farmer's market at one of our florist shops. They had this beautiful prayer plant. This has been like one of my dream plants, my dream house plants. I just love like the pink veins on it, and usually they don't show up in very good shape here, so I'm pretty excited about this one. I got my bag of rhubarb acquired. I'm gonna make some rhubarb candy this afternoon. I got a little tray of lettuce starts for my balcony garden. And then I also got waylaid at the knitting stall. I had some birthday money to spend, and this is a little knitting project bag. It's got like a pocket, and then you can keep your different projects all organized when you're working on them. So that is my little mini farmer's market haul. And now I'm off to the bookshop. last stop for the day is my local library. I'm going to start trying to find some picks for my Jane Austen July TBR, so I'm pretty excited to do that. So we've got some major spoilers for my Jane Austen July TBR in this bag here. I'm pretty excited. Jane Austen July, it's one of my favorite month-long read-alongs on Booktube, and like the other Bennet sister I've been meaning to read forever, the Jane Austen Society, but that's all to come. And with that, I am home, so I will show you a little haul of what I got at the used bookstore and the thrift store in terms of books shortly. Okay, I am back from my little shopping excursion, and I thought I would show off the handful of used books that I picked up between the secondhand shop and the thrift store. So at the used bookstore, I got The Mirror of Casterbridge by Thomas Hardy. This book is the June-July pick for the Victorian Patreon book club that Kate Howe runs that I participate in. This is going to be my first time reading Thomas Hardy, so I'm a little apprehensive, but also very excited to finally start diving into some of his catalog. As usual with classics, I try not to read too much detail on the back or anything because they often have spoilers that you wouldn't know until you're halfway through the book otherwise, but my understanding of the premise of this book is that there's a man who has an alcohol problem, and at one point, well drunk or to pay some gambling debts or something, he sells his wife and child to a sailor. And then we fast forward into the future and kind of see the consequences of that once he becomes sober and actually ends up becoming the mayor of Casterbridge, and the wife and child return back to this town. So it sounds like an intriguing, albeit somber setting, and I'm really looking forward to diving into this one in the next couple of weeks. And then I was also super excited to find the first two books in a mystery series that I've been meaning to try. Every time I've been into this secondhand shop, I've been checking for this author and this book series, so I was very excited to see not just the first book, but the first two books. So this is a mystery series that's actually set in my region of British Columbia, Canada. It's a local author, and all the action takes place kind of around where I live. And that's really neat because British Columbia itself isn't a setting for too many books, let alone the tiny corner that I live in. And this book series is recommended for fans of the Maisie Dobbs series, which was why I was so excited to pick it up, and it's set just after World War II. Even the covers kind of remind me of Maisie Dobbs, like they have that same like vintage poster kind of feeling to them. So I'll read the back of this first one just to give you a taste of what this series is like. A Killer in King's Cove, a Lane Winslow mystery by Iona Wishaw. It's been a long war and Lane Winslow wants a fresh start. Young, weary, and haunted by countless wartime secrets, the ex-intelligence officer leaves London and settles into a secluded and sleepy hamlet in the mountains. Determined to conceal her past, she makes a happy home for herself among her eclectic neighbors. But when a corpse is discovered carrying nothing more than Winslow's name on a slip of paper, she fears she may not have escaped London unscathed. As the investigation threatens to expose her past, the real killer lurks dangerously close. Smart and enchanting, Lane Winslow's first mystery recalls post-war heroines such as Maisie Dobbs and Bess Crawford. And then this is the second book in the series, Death in a Darkening Mist. And the back of this one says, Lane Winslow returns in the second installment of this brilliant new mystery series created by the daughter of a wartime spy. After the turbulence of her first several weeks in King's Cove, former British intelligence officer Lane Winslow wants nothing more than to finally settle into a nice quiet life in her new community. But when the body of a Russian man is found at the local hot springs, Lane's expertise and remarkable linguistic abilities prove to be invaluable to the case. The investigation, led by Inspector Darling, points to the Soviet Union where Stalin's purges are eliminating enemies. Further evidence reveals that the reach of Stalin's agents snakes all the way into a harmless Doukhobor community not far from King's Cove. Lane's complicated relationship with Darling is intensified by the perils of the case and by the discovery of her father's death during the war. So there are, I think, already 6 or 7 books in this series. So I'm going to give these first 2 a try and see what I think of them. I think it would be a perfect kind of summer read to read a mystery set in my area. Then at the thrift store I also picked up 2 books. These are both classics that I hadn't heard of before. This one is The Story of an African Farm by Olive Schreiner, and this is a Victorian era novel set in South Africa. I believe it was published in the 1880s, and the author was born in South Africa and grew up there, so I think it's semi-autobiographical. And it follows 2 cousins growing up in the 1860s in South Africa. So I thought this would be kind of an interesting book to add into my collection of African-related literature and provide some insight into kind of the perspectives of white farmers in South Africa in this time period. And then lastly, I got Goodbye to Berlin by Christopher Isherwood, mainly because I think the cover is just stunning. These editions are sold quite a bit at our local bookstore, so I do see them sometimes available in the secondhand shops here. And this one is set in the 1930s in Berlin and shows the lives of people at threat from the rise of the Nazis. A wealthy Jewish heiress, a gay couple, and an English upper-class waif. And the little review on the back says, reading this novel is much like overhearing anecdotes in a crowded bar while history knocks impatiently at the window. So I thought that sounded very intriguing. And ever since reading the Maisie Dobbs novel set in Germany right before the war, I think it's Journey to Munich is the title, I've been kind of interested in reading more books set in that time period where World War II hasn't happened yet. But you can see that things are heading that way, and kind of, when reading about it now, watch in horror as different events unfold that you know are leading towards the rise of Nazism and World War II. So I think this will be interesting. It's surprisingly big text, so it's actually quite a short little classic. So that is my little mini haul from today. What I love about shopping at thrift stores and secondhand shops is that it's super cheap to get some interesting new books to add to my collection. I think all of these together were less than $20 for all 5 of them, so it doesn't get much better than that. I hope you enjoyed coming with me on my little shopping excursion today. Until next time, enjoy wandering through the pages of a good book.